I meet lots of interesting people who I want to help, and the best way for me to give back is to quickly share who they're helping professionally and who they wish they could privately or philanthropically help more. And I help you by keeping the interview short and sweet. People in my circle can pick and choose who to directly and indirectly help with their business or charitable contributions. Who are you helping? Don't forget to subscribe or follow me on YouTube and TikTok so they start paying me to do more content like this. Let's get started. Hey, how's it going? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is for Who Are You Helping? Today, I'm joined by Adam, and is it Yohanan? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. And how are you doing today, Adam?
Excellent. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. I got great news today as well. I don't know if you're aware of this, but today we are joined by my very favorite member of the audience. And why is my favorite audience member here? It's because this is a Who Are You Helping? And the story about this podcast series is that sometimes people appear in my circle and I want to help them out. I want to get an idea of what they're doing in their business or something like that. In general, people know me for being a real estate influencer, whatever you want to call it, podcaster. And sometimes I have somebody where I want to share with you saying, what exactly is it that you do? So before we get too excited on the specific format questions, Adam, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yes. So I am a small business lawyer. So I help people who make money in ways other than real estate, funny enough. There's a lot of real estate lawyers and there's a lot of real estate investors, but there's also a lot of people who make money with regular operating businesses like laundromats, marketing consultants, accountants, other lawyers. And there's a whole universe of these businesses and people who want to get into these businesses, but there's not enough lawyers serving them because most of those businesses, don't have an in-house lawyer because they're too small, and they don't have a big outside law firm also because they're too small. But at the same time, they still need something. And the problem I'm trying to solve is that while large companies might be over-lawyered, small companies tend to be under-lawyered. So I am leveling the playing field for small businesses that want to have that Wall Street big level type of legal service, but they want to get it in a way that's working for them as a small business owner, or a small business investor, or a small business acquirer, or even just someone who's doing partnerships with small businesses. So all that is to say, I'm a transactional lawyer. I do contracts, mergers, partnerships, basically everything other than going to court.
I love it. Okay, so none of the litigation. So the one question that I start off things always with is who do you help professionally? You've done a great job of that in particular, and of course, I got this funny hat on that says real estate is a scam.com, and so obviously I deal with the people in very broad different types of businesses. And one thing that sounds like a good fit is that usually if you're going to get far in real estate, you have to be rubbing elbows with investors, and sometimes they're going to be buying and selling businesses. So that sounds like there's a good overlap there. But the first question, just so so you're used to the format here, yes, you in the audience, is the first question is, who do you help professionally? And I want to say why that's such an important question. Some of the people who I have on here, they haven't had much exposure to marketing experience or training about that, and so it might be difficult to spit out who you help professionally, but out there somewhere, there's somebody who's giving you money on a fairly regular basis, and people don't do that for just no reason. So that's why I like to ask the question. They call it messaging in marketing. It's how you say what it is you do. So Adam, you did a great job of saying that. Maybe you can talk about what you do in the context of making those acquisitions. Like if somebody is going to try and buy a laundromat or something like that, interested in the cash flow, things like that. Also, a lot of people in the circles that I hang out with, they'll be involved not only in JV deals, but they'll also deal in syndications. So if you want to say a thing or two about where you focus and what your ideal sort of client would be, please go ahead.
Sure. So I'll sort of analogize it to real estate because at the surface level, it kind of looks the same. You have the leader, the GP, you have the investors, you have other workers, you have vendors, you have all that, but everything just looks different when we're talking about operating businesses rather than real property. So what people need to understand is that you can't just copy and paste a real estate contract and a real estate structure into an operating business because of the nature of the assets. So a lot of operating businesses, the property is just one part of the asset. Most of the key assets are actually relationships between people and in the form of intellectual property. So we have to deal with that legally in a totally different way. We need to have contracts between people that make clear what they're going to do, how they're going to be compensated, and we need to have intellectual property that has legal validity and that's being leveraged in the right way. So for someone who wants to get into buying businesses, the first thing they need to understand is that it's not going to work the same way as it does on Wall Street. When private equity buys a business, they have lots of advisors, they have Goldman Sachs is behind them, Skadden's behind them. But when a random person just says, I want to own the laundromat or I want to own an accounting firm, they need to build that advisor base from scratch and they need to do it in a way that's going to be economical. So that's where I come in. We structure the deal in a way that's going to be protective of liability for the person acquiring. So if something goes wrong with the business, we want to put that responsibility on the seller. Likewise, if I'm representing the seller of a business, we want to put that responsibility on the buyer. But the bottom line is you're dealing with inexperienced players and there's really no rules to it. So you can structure these deals kind of however you want, which is so different than what you read about in the Wall Street Journal because those are repeat players and those are big players. So they play by a certain set of rules. And if you're not going to go along with those rules, you're not going to play the game. But acquiring a small business is like the Wild West. So we have to help people understand their options and help them make the right choice. Do they want to do this by borrowing money from the SBA? Do they want to bring in other equity investors like they would with real estate? Or there's even more creative structures, like you can have what's called an earnout, where you don't really put in any cash at all up front and you just pay out the business owner based on how the business does in the future. So these are muddy waters, these are rough waters, and my job is to help business people navigate that and do it in a way that they're going to be successful financially.
I love it. I love it. So my next question then, I want to give the origin story for that one. So I guess you can probably figure out from the background behind me, that was from my last place that I lived back in Taiwan. I lived out there for 15 years. And one of the things I noticed, you may not know this about me, but I'm from the internet. And one of the weird quirks about being from the internet is wherever I physically end up living, there's always that movement to shop local, support your local economy, and all that sort of thing. And of course, that's really important to do. However, sometimes, there isn't anybody appropriate who lives nearby, and I had to figure out, well, how do you choose some professional over the internet, someone who's online instead of somebody who's just down the street? And what hit me is the source of this second question. The second question is, who is out there in your life that you wish you could help more? And so for some people, it's more of on a personal level. Maybe they haven't had enough time to spend with their family. Some people are so laser focused on professionalism and helping people professionally that they're looking for more clients. And then we have some overachievers on this show who have like orphanages around the world and that sort of thing, which is fantastic as well. But Adam, who's out there where you wish you could help them more than you can right now?
I love to help the overachievers who are trapped in corporate America or in some other type of painful W-2 employment. And I love these people because they have unbelievable ability and potential to make it on their own. They're just missing a few key advisors who are going to fill the knowledge gaps and give them the things they never needed when they were in corporate America. So to give an example, I represent a very prominent real estate investing consultant who's doing all kinds of securitizations. She made her career on Wall Street, but now she's on her own and she's giving this advice in a way where she's the boss. The problem that she has is that coming from a large institution, she had so much support. She never had to think about technology and benefits and vendors and all the things that we deal with as small business owners. And I can relate to that because I used to work in a big law firm where everything was done for me except the legal work. And now I'm the head of HR, I'm the head of vendors, I'm in all kinds of places where I don't know what I'm doing. So my goal is to empower those people because I see the potential in them, but I also see those few gaps that they need to fill in order to fully realize that potential as a 1099 or as a K1 type of person.
I love it. And that brings me to my third question, which I like to imagine that the people in the audience are the genie that comes out of the lamp and you get three wishes, or Santa Claus, you get to sit on their lap. The question is, Adam, who or how can people help you?
Wow. Well, people can help me by telling me things that I don't know because I'm still on this small business journey myself. I'm only 2 years out of big law, and every day I'm going through all kinds of struggles like, what are the benefits for my employees going to be? I don't know anything about health insurance. What kind of vendors should I choose? I don't know, who's doing that. How do I negotiate with my landlord? I don't know anything about that. How am I supposed to be dressing? How do I market myself on the internet? So, people can help me by giving me their knowledge and helping me plug my gaps because I know a lot about being a lawyer, but I'm actually such an amateur when it comes to small business and I'm making it up as I go along. So if anyone has any tips in areas where you think lawyers are ignorant, please help me be less ignorant because I want to learn.
Great answer. I love the vulnerability. And then the next question, it's really a shoe-in, which is how do people reach out to help in the ways that you mentioned? Now, of course, I'm going to sandbag that for a second and talk about myself, which is, of course, Adam and I ended up meeting over LinkedIn. I'm easy to find on LinkedIn because I got this distinct last name. It makes me really, really easy to find. I also have a few books available that are on Amazon and that sort of thing, but LinkedIn is definitely the best way to reach out. Adam, as far as you're concerned, website, social media, phone, email, what are the best ways to reach out?
The best way to find me is on LinkedIn. I love to work with ex-white collar professionals, people who've been in professional services, and we know that those people love to hang out on LinkedIn. So that's my crowd. That's where I spend the most time. And if you check me out on LinkedIn, you can book a free strategy session with me and find all my other social media.
All right, I love it. And so that is who Adam helps professionally, who he wishes he could help more, how you can help him, and how to reach out. But Adam, the one sneaky question that I have at the end of this is always, did you know that if the people in the audience click that big ugly subscribe button down right there, that it'll actually help me?
I did not know that, but now that I do know that, I would encourage everyone to hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the notifications button as well if you can.
Definitely, definitely.
Leave
And
a
just
comment.
right, exactly. And since we're all about disclosures around here, especially when we have attorneys present, what it really boils down to, I'm biased. I want a bunch of people to click on it. It costs you nothing. I want a bunch of people to click on it because then those deadbeats at YouTube will actually start to pay for these videos instead of me. And I think that would be fantastic. The trade-off to you, just so we're clear, is that my videos may show up on your list of suggestions, but it's entirely likely that they won't. And as a matter of fact, you can go ahead and ignore those suggestions if you want. Frankly, I just really appreciate the fact that you spent this time with me. Just like Adam, I appreciate you joining me today. This has been fantastic.
Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. Great.